how long that kind of took them to kind of sort out. If you're making a change going into a playoffs match, you may not have had that much time to work with.
You'd want to have a good reason.
At least the benefit for Ground Zero is that they had that 2-week period as opposed to the 1 week. I don't know when this change actually occurred in the timeline of Overwatch Contenders, but they have had a little bit more time than other teams before their first match, which is going to be this one on the 2-2-2 lock. So let's see what Ground Zero have ahead for us.
Certainly opening to be interesting. Ground Zero taking all the room, and one player's already been frozen already. Adam and Quats dropping very low on the side of Order.
Adam, in fact, is going to be D-Mech, which is not what you want to be seeing this early on in the fight. That really gives Nami so much more freedom on this Reaper, and he is just taking to it like a knife through butter. And he is the knife, and Order is the butter. Because, well, I think you can look at that one for yourself and figure it out.
Mini and Nanda did a really good job comboing there. They get the halt into the left click freeze, and they freeze multiple targets. And that really sets Order off in the back foot. Adam getting demeched immediately. That kind of sets the tempo for the fight. You can see he's only got 30% ult charge, and he's one of the stars for Order. Him and Quads have been setting the tempo for all their games since Quads joined in Season 3. So to have those two players go out early, it's pretty rough. I've said all along in this Order team, if you take out Adam and Quads, you're probably going to win the game because they're so influential.
Get infested by and
does. And it's caught a lot of players too. This is back to the spawn room for the side of the Order.
Yeah, not really much you can do about that one, I don't think, as Order.
They do manage to get demec though.
Yeah, is that going to be much of an issue?
Well, it could be going into the next fight. Sign's going to be close on that Death Blossom. Gus has just chosen to take it off the map. So if Order can get in quickly here, there might be an opportunity to take some ground on the point. But there are a lot of ultimates on the side of Ground Zero Gaming.
Oh, I think actually Order's going to make it back here quite a bit quicker than Gus will.
There's two players out at the moment as the Lucio's actually taxiing Gus. So this is an opportunity here. And Sign goes in and he gets one.
That's excellent from Order. Perfectly timed. Sign is leading the charge here on the Reaper. And with the Death Blossom, he opened things up. That was a little bit of a failure from Ground Zero to recognize the situation. It was a 4v6, as you mentioned. Order were all over that.
I think maybe the beat drop investment from Unsicker could come back to bite him. Nami has the Death Blossom. There is no Mei ult on the side of Ground Zero just yet, so he can wait for that one. But usually you want to have this Lucio ult to counter the Mei ult or counter the Death Blossom. Using it offensively like that could come back to bite you. Adam's going to have to be super sharp here on his defense matrix.
Well, there are still avenues that Order can play around the Mei wall or the defense matrix from Adam, although
Bomb
perhaps
comes
not
out
an option. That's a very nice self-destruct from Adam. Always seems to be able to get two with that. And the rest will be cleaned up pretty nicely as well. So in the end, Smash, I don't think that beat drop is going to haunt Hunter at all. He's up to 46% in the next fight. He might get it.
He certainly might, and we saw Adam and Quads, there they are, the two stars for this Order roster. We saw them last season, at IEM, pull off that amazing Shadow Bomb combo. And again, now they're comboing into the Halt into the bomb. These two players, absolutely superstars.
Well, wrapping around the left side now, Ground Zero, to try and find another avenue of attack onto the point.
They're wasting a lot of time though.
To go through a Blizzard, Coalescence, the Death Blossom will be up soon for Signed as well. To work with for Order, but that's a big hold. Nami takes advantage of it. It's Winter from under the Yuki will fall. Nanda, yeah, unfortunately not able to get the Blizzard across, but perhaps still going to be enough to win the fight here for Ground Zero. Continues to put some pressure on, freezing up all of those targets.
Hunter just dancing on the point, buying any percentage he can, and that will spell the end of the fight. 87%, 88% it looked like it will tick over at. One fight territory for Order. They need to get in now quick and get this out of the way. Can Yuki and Sign get value off their ultimates? We saw Nyang and Winter not being able to get that much value off them in the previous series, and it really was set the tone for the series. The side that was getting those values from the Mei ults was the side that was winning.
Well, luckily, Nami did kind of get booped up above the wall, otherwise he could have been in a spot of bother. Yuki does use his Ice Block very early on in the piece.
Very worried about that Halt into the supercharger damage. It does so much damage.
This from Sign. He's going all the way into the back line. This could be huge. The Death Blossom's available, but he has not invested it. Sound Barrier went down from Hunter. Now comes the Death Blossom. Now that he knows he's safe. And a lot of damage comes from it, but Gunther had a great Sound Barrier down as well. It's just not going to matter though.
They need to get out quick on the side of Ground Zero, or they need to contest. It's 93 on the point. The Mei's been found too. I don't know if they're going to be able to hold it. They might not even get another touch in. The Wrecking Ball's coming in, but will it be enough?
No.
Order taking the first round on the pole. It is close though, 99 to 100, so it's not looking clean.
That was a ballsy play from Sign, teleporting into the back line.
But I think that's what Sign's all about. He's a very aggressive DPS player, and we've seen him take risks. He's very heavy on the risk reward, and if his team backs him up, he usually gets value.
It did seem really well communicated as well, though, for Order, because as soon as Sign comes out of his teleportation, there is the sound barrier being dropped by Unta, so he's pretty healthy. And the rest of Order was charging in at the same time as well, so it seemed to be working in unison pretty nicely. 1-0 for Order. What's the expectation out of today? Is this a match that Order should win?
I thought that this was going to be. I thought this was going to be the easier semi-final, the Order stomping semi-final. I thought they were going to have a lot of momentum going into this series. They've done a lot of work behind the scenes, and I thought that was going to really carry them over. I didn't think that the previous semi-final would be the 3-0. I thought this one might have been.
Well, this might still be.
Oh, it definitely well could be, but Granzo is showing a lot of fight. Don't expect anything this season. It's been difficult to call. I've looked like an idiot too many times on broadcast.
Well, this is certainly not going to be a freebie for Order. They're going to be made to work for it. That is a really nice ball. Adam, no! He gets himself back on up, but just not in time to save Quartz. Needed the defense matrix there. And Order, I mean, it was all just because of that one wall. Great work from Nanda. Totally catching the two tanks off guard, and the rest of Order was really isolated, not only by the geometry of the map, but also by the wall. So it's a good fight win for Ground Zero, off on the right foot.
Order started off in this pick composition, the poke and pick composition that they had. The Mind Pick started off in a similar composition, except the Ana instead of the Zenyatta. Now Order have swapped over to that more brawl composition, the ball heavy composition. This is what they saw on the previous round, the mirror matchup. I think Order will feel more confident on the pick composition than the brawl one.
That's a good bait of the wall there from Order. They put their own up, and that sort of forces Nanda to use his. No one gets caught on the side of Order.
Managed to survive that coalescence. Not much happening really at the moment. With time off the clock though, and Mini's closing in on his supercharger, and that could hold more time.
Blizzard here for Nanda as well.
Getting in is going to be definitely difficult here. He gets signed straight away.
I just got cleaned up. This is not fun at all for Order. Time to start thinking about other avenues of attack. Yuki uses the ice block to avoid some damage, but realistically speaking, going to keep him alive in another very good wall. Nanda being quite impressive on the main.
He's a very solid player, is young Nanda. One of the stars of the future, I'd say, but at the moment, he's being a star at the moment. How are Order going to get through this, though? It's very difficult. Mei has a good firm hold on all these choke points. It's hard to get through these. Yuki needs to wall him off so he doesn't have that line of sight to wall, and you see him hidden in the corner. Wall waiting to deploy.
You don't know what corner he's on.
He's guessed the right corner, but there's still a slither there, and he could still get the wall off.
Army goes low, but able to survive for the moment. Comes Blizzard down. That one is from Yuki. I think the Nanda used his as well. Everyone's just throwing everything in here. It's like a pinata. They're trying to smash each other open, but who knows what's going to come out. Well, the self-destruct from Adam. That's done a decent job on Gunther. Quartz able to put in some good work as well from the Orisa side of things.
At the moment, it's Order coming out on top as they're cleaning the last few members off the point. The Wraithing Reaper comes on. It looks like Ground Zero have given up. They'll go back to spawn and Ryan recontest. They did get to 99 though, but we can see Order can match that with that aggressive hold with the Mei. It was very close for Nanda to be holding all the team of Order there off with that Mei wall.
If one team's going to come back from a 99-0 deficit, it's going to be Order on their day. Are they on their day though, Smash? That's the question.
It's going to be very difficult to play into this supercharger from the enemy Orisa. Mini, if he gets a good position on this supercharger and he gets value out of it, his team can build the ults off and they can force Order off this point by brute force. Sign's TP'd onto the high ground though. He's in a really nice position above them.
Talk about brute force, that is exactly what Ground Zero has right now. Pushing straight in, here is the Death Blossom. But it's Signed that falls to his own death. I don't think any of those players actually got booped off, and now it is just a crazy battle of everything.
From Unta!
Unta just gets gassed. It looked better than that, but still it might be enough to win the fight for Order. Nanda's locked in the corner now. I see a Diva go flying off. It's the Lucios that are having the major impact here. Unta even deciding to invest his sound barrier. Must feel that this fight is winnable. Must feel that something can come from this, and something has to come from this for Order. But I'm not sure that it will. Ground Zero looking far too strong here. 6 players on the point. And Order are going to have to give that one up. There's one more round to go.
The Reaper TP comes in to save his own life. Nami managing just to get back on that point. If he goes down, I think that round goes the way of Order.
Yep.
Very close. That Unta boop could have sealed the deal for them, but no. just in time, he TP's back up, and now we see the Pharah come out for Nanda. This is more of a comfortable pick for him. He's not really known as a heavy Mei player. He's known as a Pharah, as a Genji. So what can he do now with this hero?
Is it the right choice on this round, though?
I definitely think it is. I think that if you lose the first fight on this point, it's such a struggle to get back into it. So having that Pharah, it makes it a lot easier. You're kind of banking against Order, not playing anything that can counter it, and playing more of the similar comp with the Orisa, the Reaper, and the Mei.
Well, it seems like Order has done their research.
Sounds like they have done their homework. They're going on this double flanker. Yuki, a star Tracer player back in the day. He was one of the 3 god Tracers in the region that everyone was scared of. Can he turn back the clock and find some form? The dive composition coming out of Order, and they've scouted the Ana.
In the hiding as well, Order. So Ground Zero only now starting to get an inkling, and it's already too late. Dalsu focused down. Great scouting work from Sign. Yuki will be picked up though, so too will Jordation, and it looked like a good start for Order. But all of a sudden, the picks go the way of Ground Zero. They just hit some really nice shots and were able to counteract what Order was trying to do very quickly indeed. Contest onto the point. That's a good dive from Quats. Gets Gus, and Adam also grabbing Gunther.
There's no supports now for the side of Ground Zero. Ana just coming back. The Nano Boost comes out onto the Ashe, actually.
Well, this is going to be where the likes of the Tracer for Yuki need to pop off, but Na'Vi just cleans him up.
That's 2 early deaths for Yuki too. He's not going to be happy with himself. The Order managed to switch the point.
I'm so confused as to what's going on right now. Nanda got cancelled, I think, by a hack.
Certainly did, and it's getting very close on the point. It's just the players straggling in. Quats is here. If he can get his monkey ult, no, he can't. He dies just in time.
This is absolute chaos right now. Still in the favor of Order. Coalescence keeping Jordation healthy, keeping everyone healthy. He's pretty much fighting on this point solo. Finally, Yuki comes back. Now Adam rejoins the fight as well, and the reinforcements have arrived. The cavalry are here.
And there's one thing that Order thrive in, it's chaos. The dive chaos just really favors them. Those trickle-in fights, the Tracer, the Sombra, the Winston, they're all going to be able to get back to point very quickly.
I mean, literally all of them, even Moira with Fade.
Now Ground Zero coming up against an EMP, a Tracer Pulse Bomb, even Adam's Diva Mech Bomb. How are they going to counter into this fight, or do they just take it dry? They did leave a lot of the point percentage to tick over to Order.
It's already up to 10%, getting scary. That's an EMP down from Sign. He also falls, but it's enough done by him to open the door for the rest of his team. Ground Zero not able to offer a whole lot of resistance. Just a couple of picks going through, but there's just so many players still alive for Order. Continuing that chase, Hunter will grab himself a couple.
Sign has swapped over to the Reaper, and Yuki's running back to spawn. He'll swap over as well, and this will be a more comfortable composition for Order. It will just be Quats playing a hero that he wouldn't be expected to play on. Yuki swapping over to the Mei, not the McCree. Wrong hero, son. And now we have Quats hiding in the wings. He has that Primal Rage. He's been so good for so long with it. Adam throws the bomb in early.
Quats around the back with the Primal Rage.
He's got the Lucio isolated.
He's going to get value from that one. Hunter now investing his sound barrier. Goes down onto every player bar Quats, but he didn't even need it. He's doing it all himself. Does get low, but able to surf along the route. Get the damage done onto Dalsu to finish him off, and that is going to finish Ground Zero off as well. Order are going to win Nepal. It was a fairly close thing on the first couple of rounds, but as soon as we got onto Village, Order cleans it up nicely. What a chaotic start, though, to Village. In the end, Order will be happy. A win's a win, and now they can look forward to finishing off the rest of this series.
Yeah, playing that dive composition, turning back the clock a bit. Order seemed pretty comfortable on it. It surprises me because those players haven't played those heroes in a very long time, but Quat seemed very comfortable on the Winston. He managed to find the Lucio and isolate him in that Primal Rage and take him out very quickly, which didn't allow the side of Ground Zero to AoE heal back up. No sound barrier in the fight, and that last fight just went all the way of Order.
Yeah, certainly did. Order, I mean, look, they're the team coming into this that even though they come through from the quarterfinal, have to be the expected victor. I think it's unfair to say that in a way because Ground Zero have had a good season. They've made it through. They've been the team that gets the auto berth through the semi-final, and by rights, they should deserve that kind of a title, the team that should win this match. But this is all we're talking about. They underperformed during the season. All it takes, though, is for them to have 1 or 2 good matches here at the end of the season, and all will be forgotten, and they will have built their own dynasty 2 seasons in a row, being able to win Contenders.
Certainly, it is all that one-day performance that you need. Semi-final, who comes and who plays, and at the moment, Order have shown a unique strategy of rolling back to the dive. They obviously knew what was going to come out at them. I don't think Nanda's been playing too badly either. I think that he's been okay for the side of Ground Zero Gaming, so I don't think this roster switch has hurt them too badly. I just think the Order had that presence of mind, they had the strategy to go in, and they prepared well for the game. I think this is that Rocket Barrage getting hacked by Sign as it just comes out.
Yep, it was the hack.
It's well done there by Sign to identify the threat. Getting a hack on a Pharah is always good value. Take her out the sky and she drops pretty quick.
That's like cyberbullying, isn't it? It's like, I want to use my Rocket Barrage now, and Sign's just like, nope.
It is a form of cyberbullying, and I'll be talking to Sign about that later because that is not okay.
Not okay at all, Sign.
No, it's not.
Smash has been on the receiving end of it a little bit as well, so he knows how it feels. All right, speaking of what Order is going to be looking at towards this next map, I mean, it's Ground Zero's choice, obviously, having lost Nepal there. What are we expecting out of Assault?
I wouldn't be surprised to see Numbani coming out. Oh, not Numbani, sorry, that's hybrid.
Paris,
Assault
Anubis,
Paris, maybe Anubis comes out. It's more of a DPS playground, less of a Reaper May playground. I think that Ground Zero want to rotate away from the Reaper May, the way that works. That I don't think Nanda's the best May. I don't think Nami is super comfortable on the Reaper. I think they'll be more comfortable on like double sniper or maybe a Genji composition. So I think they're trying to rotate away from those type of maps that facilitate the May. And Anubis is one of those maps where you can play other type of DPS heroes.
That really sort of ties back into their regular season performance as well. They did grab a couple of wins on Anubis, so I would suspect that probably is going to be the choice from Ground Zero. Certainly not expecting a Volskaya out from them based on their season. Memory, I think this map that we got to see between them last time was Paris, between Ground Zero.
Yeah, I believe it was a very close Paris. Might have even been a draw. Maybe not. I don't know.
No, it was a 3-1. So
it was a 3-1.
It
Okay,
couldn't have been
so
a draw. But it is Temple of Anubis, so there we go. And
what's for Nami's Widowmaker here? If he sets off in the Widowmaker, they could even play a Widow Genji attack on the side of Ground Zero Gaming, because that would put their star DPS players on the roles they're most comfortable with.
That would really be a bit of a curveball, I think, for Order as well, because we've looked at Sign this season, and in previous seasons, we've always said, hey, he's a godlike Widowmaker, being able to have huge performances. But this season, I don't really think that has necessarily eventuated for him on Widow.
He hasn't had the hottest shots, but I mean, cometh the man, cometh the hour. Or other way around, but he could turn up on this semi-final and just show us why he is considered probably the best hit scan player in the region. Still.
Well, that is what remains to be seen. What do we get from the rest of Order as well? I mean, for Quartz, he seems to be pretty happy to just play Orisa this entire season. I guess we got to see a little bit of a Winston play from him just there on Village, but by and large, from what I remember last week as well, it was just Orisa.
And Quats is a very incredibly solid player. He's one of those rare main tanks that plays all the main tanks at a very high level. Sometimes when you have main tank players, there'll be more Winston specialists, more a Winston Hammond specialist or a Reinhardt Orisa specialist, but Quats is one of the blessed ones that he can play all of them so very well.
Bit of a gamer.
He is a bit of a gamer, but will he be gaming enough today to see Order through to meet Mindfreak at the grand final?
Well, it wasn't the most one-sided Nepal, so I don't think we can really make a solid prediction based off of that.
It was actually pretty similar to our previous series in Nepal,
exactly,
where the last map was pretty one-sided, but the other two were very tight.
So it is going to be signed on the Widow. Now, it's Order starting off on the defense, so you can, with reasonable assurance, assume that this is their composition.
It's nice with the Baptiste because you can kind of play the high grounds with the Baptiste and the Widowmaker and then just heal from a distance with the Baptiste. Having the Ana as well means that there's lots of places to play and you can get some nice angles off of anti-nades. This point has always been good for Ana just because of the high ground and the way defense works.
What is Ground Zero going to pick here? Sombra Widow.
Okay, and it's Nanda on the Widowmaker, not Nami. That's an interesting choice for me. Nami, a very solid Widowmaker player in his own right.
Definitely. But
he has been playing Sombra and he played it pretty well in their last group stage game.
No, it's not going to be Nanda on the Widow.
I could see him swap into Genji maybe with the Dalsu Zenyatta. That leads me towards a Genji pick. No, he's just going for the Mei. Very, okay, interesting. So they're not trying to force DPS heroes on to their comfort heroes. They're more playing the meta. How will Order respond to this? Looking like they just want to play this high ground with their main stack. Have signed on the back line ready to take aim.
Gus.
This drops very low.
Jordation threw a nade in there that got eaten. Must have done. Because if a nade connects on Gus there, he was dead for sure. Well, speaking of connections, that's a hook. Straight onto Quartz, and Dalsu says, thank you very much. I'm going to eat that up. Headshot. Man, this is dangerous now for Order.
There's no mercy on the side of Order, so he's not coming back anytime soon. Sign needs to get some picks here. As Under falls as well. that hook not blocked by the Mei, so a little bit of a misplay from Order, and they're getting picked apart now. They need to decide to get out quick or die on the point.
Closer that these players get to the point, the more difficult it is for Sign to find picks. Not being able to connect onto anything, and even if he did now at this point, it would have been too late. It's a very solid take from Ground Zero, showing no problems post Nepal.
No problems at all. Sign will swap over to the Hanzo. It's a hero that he's been so good on the last few weeks, but Ground Zero, they're no mugs themselves. They've got a lot of ults to work with here. Gunther's Amplification Matrix, if he gets it in the right place at the right time, it could shred the side of Order. They don't have a defensive ult to work around this either, so they just have to position well. Yuki does have the Mei ult, and there is no Diva for that to be eaten, so he's going to get value out of that no matter what. He can chuck it right in the back corner there and force Ground Zero into a bad position.
Yeah, thankfully there are a lot of good safe positions for the defenders on at this point. The wall is going to be Ground Zero having to commit here, which also forces the Transcendence out from Dalsu. Was an Immortality field still up, but this is going well for Ground Zero, having gotten rid of Sign and Jordation. Now the rest of Order decide to invest all of their own ultimates, but they're just not getting any value at all. They're getting absolutely wrecked here on Temple of Anubis.
It's going to be a very quick cap if they don't get the contest off, and I don't think they will in time. It's going up, and 4 minutes 40 on the clock. What a shocker from Order on that defense. Yuki held that Mei ult for so long. He ended up getting pressured out so far, and when he threw it down, it wasn't deep enough. So they were still able to just lay damage in from the backline. Order mis-executing their ultimates there really cost them so much. But good presence of mind from Ground Zero to take the appropriate positioning and push in together, using their ultimates to push Order back off the point and then collect the kills as they were trying to run away. What a statement from Ground Zero, saying they're not going down without a fight, and this is the most alive we've seen a series today. After that other one, we got absolutely steamrolled.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was over in less than an hour. I was thinking, hey, we might be home pretty quick. But this series is already looking a little closer. So maybe we have a bit more entertainment ahead of us. Still only into the second map. We can't get too far ahead of ourselves. We haven't even seen Order on the attack just yet. They may have something up their sleeves as well, and who knows, we might see them with 5 minutes on the clock.
They're going to need a blistering pace to match this, though. The assault change coming through where you only get 3 minutes for capping the first point, not 4, and the staggers aren't as important, so it really lends itself to the defenders' advantage already on assault. But we could be in for a long one here. They are going with the Ashe, Mercy boosted Ashe, so that's a lot of damage coming out. Nami, a very sharp player. That Dynamite can do wonders against a stable composition like the Orisa compositions where they're all grouped up. That Dynamite can do a lot of damage. Adam's going to need to be on the ball to eat those.
Looks like we'll see Signed on the Hanzo for the first time this week, and that was quite deadly last week. That is going to be something that Order will look to get advantages from.
One thing about the Ashe versus the Orisa is you find yourself just sitting there reloading most of the time, because if you are trying to break that shield, it's so hard to do, and it's probably not even worth it. So if Nami doesn't focus the shield, he can get and trades to take good off angles, he could get value. But if he just sits there shooting the shield, then he might as well be on another hero. So he needs to get big value off the Dynamites and find some nice angles. That shield goes down early from Quats.
Does indeed. It's allowed Order to cross to the pillar, but they're going to have to get into safety.
Sign not in safety, he's dropping very low, manages to just get in inside. Hunter fast charging this ultimate very quickly though.
An interesting Dynamite through the roof.
It should just fall on top of the enemy's heads, and it does. It's doing a lot of damage actually to Hunter and Jordation.
That's really good for charging Bob up at 55% already. If this actually ends up getting charged before Order really commit to the fight, Nami could get a very, very solid ultimate off.
Sign's on a very sneaky flank right now. If he doesn't get caught, Gus misses him with the Diva, and the square is up for Hunter.
Nami does cop an arrow to the face, but gets some heals quickly, and now Signed is overcommitted. It is a 1-for-1 as Mini drops. That's fair enough for Order. They've got the respawn advantage being on the attack. Now they just need to play things out quite slowly, ensure that they don't lose too many more picks here, at least untraded picks. They need to make sure that they get the trade.
Bob could be very difficult to deal with here. Hunter going very low. He does have to drop a lamp for himself, and Yuki's been isolated.
Yeah, Yuki's been deaded as well. Dalsu finding that kill. Signed, however, has returned to the fray, and with some real damage. 3 kills, storm arrows, and then a couple of headshots across. That'll make things all too easy for Order to finish it off. And I did like that little bit of a pun you put in there, Smash. I don't even know if you intended to do it. But with Yuki being isolated by the Mei wall.
Yeah, I'm very clever, aren't I?
You're a really clever guy.
Really clever. Sign coming back, remaining unmarked. As soon as he was back, he had some free space to shoot, and if he has any space to shoot on this Hunter, he's showing us that he already takes lots of players out. As Yuki drops to 8 HP. A little scary. But now with this Mail, he needs to have a one that was much better than his defense one. His defense one really cost Order a lot, so he needs to get the right angle here as the Dragon comes out, and that forces them all into the back corner.
Already a time bank disadvantage now for Order, so they with their backs against the wall, against the clock as well.
Jordation getting frozen up, goes down. Both the supports from Order go down at the same time.
And Yuki goes up and straight back down as well. There's just no value coming at all from anything Order tried to work with there. Yuki again hanging on to his Blizzard.
Seems a little bit lost on how to use this Blizzard at this point. It's quite difficult because you don't really have the line of sight to throw it deep, and you can't really afford to because it's quite easy to eat with that D.Va. So you need to kind of throw your wall up and then throw it into the wall. It's pretty difficult. Nami now swaps over to the Reaper. This means that Synder's going to swap over as well. So it's matching each other's compositions at this point. No Roadhog for the side of Order. We saw that for the side of Ground Zero have great success. But they do have the Bongo from Quats, and that will force the players back. Really need a nice May wall for him from Nanda, and he doesn't quite get it.
Bongo, though, unprotected for now, should go down pretty quickly. Good focus from Ground Zero. Now they get their amplification matrix up, and Order is cowering away behind the point. Blizzard from Yuki, but it's out. Oh my god, Gus! He's just thrown the self-destruct in, and Order has gone, see you later.
There's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide when you throw that bomb in there. If you're not, Yuki was pushed out, so he couldn't even wall the bomb off to protect his teammates. He went out very aggressive. His team wasn't expecting it. He got cleaned up pretty quickly as Adam gets staggered out ferociously here, actually. It's a mean stagger.
Where did this self-destruct even go?
Straight into the back alley there. And Yuki was pushed forward, so he couldn't drop a shield.
Oh, the halt as well.
Beautiful play from Ground Zero.
That hold from Mini was excellent.
Now, there's no ults on the side of Order. Dalsu's in a nice position to hit these big nades. They're boosting him up, actually. A little sneaky position on that left-hand side of the screen. You can see him. Crouching Tiger, hidden Dalsu. Decides to jump back.
Dalsu. Scariest kind of Ana player.
Certainly has been this season. He's been a star on that.
Sleep Dart does just miss. It was pretty close. Supercharge is going to buy some more time, and every second off the clock here for Order is a big problem for them. They're up by 2 minutes already, heading into time bank, if we even get there, which at the moment it's quite frankly not looking like we will.
No, Ground Zero looking very comfortable on this map. Order looking at all sorts. They managed to get on the point, but here comes the Nano Boost onto Nami's Reaper.
Yeah, straight into the wall though he goes. Can he have an impact regardless? Yes, just smashed his sign in the face. Now we'll continue to look for more, having some difficulty getting around the shield. Adam tagging him well. Now it's time for a sound barrier. Now it's time for the re-engagement from Order. What can they do here? Has Adam eaten Nanda's Blizzard?
He goes down to prove it's just Adam on top of his game at the moment. The Bongo comes down. Adam's going to have to use the self-destruct to remake maybe. Quats goes down as well. This is going to be difficult for Order to capitalize now.
Adam gets 2, Nami gets 1. The Death Blossom in the meanwhile. Not doing too much more damage, just the Bongo to go down from there. Yuki has built himself up, but Blizzard, and that's a nano-boosted baby D.Va. Not at all what you want to see from Ground Zero. And finally, we might see Order get a bit of an advantage, but they are having difficulty dealing with this.
Sign's going to go down. This is going to turn the fight back in the favor of Ground Zero, I believe, just because the spawns are coming in. Adam's going to go low as well. Nami on this Tracer swap is doing work.
Oh, Jerry B. Order, how is it all falling apart here on Temple of Anubis, point B? It just seems as solid as a rock for Ground Zero.
Losing Sign was so detrimental. They needed to keep him alive. If the Reaper's on the point, he's so difficult to uproot and take off. But he goes down to a Nanda freeze into right click, sorry, and that's the end of that push, essentially. A good sound barrier came out from Hunter to try and counteract the Mayol, but it was eaten by Adam. So now Jordation with the Coalescence is really the only thing. Nanda has that Blizzard once more. Adam's already eaten 2 this series. Can he hit a 3rd? He doesn't.
That's a really good May wall coming through from Nanda once again, cutting the tanks off from the supports. And you can see how much of a problem that's been for Order as they've had to drop off the bridge. And they're all over the place. Order needs to reset. It's a waste of Jordation's Coalescence.
Adam losing his mech as well. He's only 15% to that remech. That's not going to be coming anytime soon.
And they've got no ultimates to work with. Maybe a Blizzard can come up quickly if Yuki is doing some damage.
They need a big play, that's for sure. Where is it going to come from? Sign is on the flank. He's on the left-hand side. He's TP'd up to the top of the high ground. Can he get anything done here? No, he's counteracted straight away. Nami with the nano boost.
At least he's going to be able to secure overtime, but Order desperately need the first pick in this fight. It's going to be so tough to get through the sound barrier of Gunther, though, and inevitably that will be Sign that falls first. Yuki second. Nami starting to ramp up in the fight now, and so is the rest of Ground Zero. The ultimates are coming online and being utilized. Self-destruct from Gus gets the better of Quads. The bongos down on the point there as well, and Order have just been swept aside, easy as you like, by Ground Zero.
A dominant result from Ground Zero on this second map. They pushed so fast, they didn't even stop at any point on that attack, getting 4 minutes 40 on the time bank, and then coming through the defense, and it was solid as a rock. Yeah, the first point went to way of Order, but only after a little bit of attacking, and they had to use a lot of ults, so they couldn't snowball onto the second point like Ground Zero did. Yuki having a bit of a disappointing on the performance on the Mei there. He needs to turn it around for the back half of this series.
Yeah, jury's really out on whether or not this series is going to go one way or another. I mean, we've seen a really good map from Ground Zero, a decent map from Order, but at a 1-1, it's really hard to call who's looking a little bit more solid. If I had to throw a name in the hat, I probably would actually say I think Ground Zero right now are looking better today.
They've definitely looked more solid. I mean, their win was way more convincing than the Nepal win that Order managed to pick up. It is a difficult map, Temple of Anubis. If you get stalled out, if you get reset, you don't get that snowball like Ground Zero did. It can be difficult to clean it up. And Order had a great opportunity at one point, but they just mis-executed. A few of their players got picked off and a little bit of ill discipline. It's beautiful Holt bomb from Gus and Mini, showing that they're no mugs when it comes to tank. I was talking up Quads and Adam, but Mini and Gus are very experienced tank players in their own right. They played on a lot of top 4 teams, made a lot of land.
So where do you go from here as Order if this kind of a composition isn't really working out? Do you try to force something back toward the dive-oriented compositions or the sniper compositions? I don't know that that's really an option though. Like,
well, you saw they looked more comfortable when Sign was on that Hanzo. They were able to find avenues, and he was able to, carry the game. So they need to get him on as much as possible. So they need to stay away from maps where this Reaper is the pick. They need to be playing the open maps like the Numbani and the Hollywood. Maybe even no, not Kings Row at all. Bin Kings Row. You need to be picking Numbani, Hollywood, and really banking on that signed carry.
Well, we'll wait and see whether or not Order is going to be able to rely on the signed carry. It's time for us to take a halftime break, but we'll be back pretty soon.